This meeting of the Essex County Board of Chosen Freeholders is hereby called to order. Madam Clerk, can you please call roll?
Freeholder Bobadilla, absent. Freeholder Vice President Gill, absent. Freeholder Johnson, absent. Freeholder Jones.
Present.
Freeholder Luciano.
Here.
Freeholder Richardson.
Here.
Freeholder Siebel.
Here.
Freeholder Toro.
Present.
Freeholder President Timberlake.
Here. Thank you. Please stand to salute the flag. And I'm going to ask that Freeholder Jones please lead us in the salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please remain standing for a moment of silence. Thank you. Okay, I have before me a certification from the clerk that this meeting is indeed in compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act. Madam Clerk, are there any transcripts to be approved?
Madam President, there are none.
Okay, are there any topics of discussion?
Madam President, there are none.
Okay, let's move to public comment session on agenda items only. For members of the public who are here this evening, or if you're at home watching on TV, tonight's meeting is a conference meeting in which we'll generally only discuss certain resolution items. However, the only resolution items that will be voted on are resolution number 28. So at this point in the agenda, if there's any member of the public wishing to speak on agenda items only, please come forward, state your name and affiliation for the record, and you'll have 3 minutes to speak, monitored by the clock to my right. Okay. Madam Clerk, let the record reflect there's no one wishing to speak on agenda items only. If there's any member of the public wishing to speak on any issue at all, please come forward, state your name and affiliation for the record, and you'll have 3 minutes to speak, monitored by the clock to my right. Okay. Madam Clerk, let the record reflect that no one is wishing to speak on any issue at all. Do we have any ordinances or resolutions for introduction and first reading?
Madam President, we have none.
Okay. Madam Clerk, you can list ordinance O 2015-00013, O 2015-00014, O 2015-0015 for public hearing at our next meeting, because those are for second reading and for listing purposes only. Am I correct?
Yes, Madam President.
Okay. Do we have any ordinances or resolution for resolutions or second reading or public hearing?
Madam President, we have none.
Okay. Let's please move to resolution number 1 then.
Advice and consent nomination for the appointment of Sophania Searcy to the Essex County College Advisory Board.
Okay, Mr. Chilella, can you please explain this resolution?
Yes, Ms. Searcy will be serving on the Essex County Advisory Board. Her term will run through October 31st, 2019, and she'll be replacing Rita Salas. We do have her present this evening. If I can call up to the microphone so she can introduce herself to the board at this time.
Please come forward, Ms. Searcy.
Good evening, Madam President and members of the Board of Chosen Freeholders. My name is Sophania Searcy, and I have the wonderful privilege of being a lifelong resident of the County of Essex for as long as I have been in the state of New Jersey. I come with a background. I've been privileged to actually grow through the ranks of both municipal and county government here in Essex County, and now work in the labor movement. Upon all of the experience that I've developed over the course of the years, I have worked tremendously and very intensely with contract, programmatic, and fiscal compliance. I have had an opportunity to go and work and do a lot of motivational work, training, and development with nearly 2.2 million members around the country of the great organization that is now SCIU. I had the opportunity in my current role to relocate anywhere I wanted to in this in the country, and I decided that it was important for me to be here in Essex County because of all the experience I've been very blessed to obtain in all the professional and community development that I've been blessed to receive and the impartations that I've gotten from so many people over the course of the years. I thought it would be important for me to come back and give back to my community. Having said that, I look forward to the opportunity to serving on the board of the college because I remember my grandmother telling me that, you know, when I got accepted to colleges, that it would be a problem for her to send me to school because she couldn't afford it. So for many children, County College is the only answer. And I look forward to the opportunity of working with my colleagues on the advisory board to try and help create and develop solutions that would allow the college to keep tuition rates affordable and would allow us to be able to empower those who are seeking an education at Essex County College to be able to obtain strong, thriving, and sustaining lives, being able to be set up for success for good careers where they can be able to provide for their family. I thank you for your consideration this evening, and I look forward to working with you as well as the opportunity to work with the members of the advisory board if the opportunity is extended. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Searcy. Mr. Polavecchio? Mr. McInerney?
No questions.
Freeholders, any questions? Freeholder Seabolt?
I just have a statement. What a wonderful addition to the Essex County College Advisory Board. I'm pleased that you're willing to give your time and your energy, and I'm sure you will enjoy it. It's always a challenge, and I know that you are up to that challenge, and I'm very happy that the county executive recommends that you be appointed to that board.
Freeholder Richardson?
Through you, Madam President, I also want to echo what Freeholder Sebo just stated, and I know you're going to do an outstanding job. Know a little bit about you, so I know your labor pedigree. So if you put in half what you put in over here, those people are going to really be blessed. So we're glad to have you. Thank you.
Freeholders, Freeholder Luciano?
Thank you, Madam President. Through you, I just want to congratulate Ms. Searcy and put on record that I've known her for approximately 9 years now, and I'm glad to have you on the board. That I am a representative too. I'm glad to sit on the board of trustees as the Freeholder representative at Essex County College, and there's a great president over there running the college, along with several very intelligent and hardworking board members that you'll be joining. So welcome to the team, and I have all the confidence in the world in you. Thank you, Madam President.
Freeholder Jones?
I'm going to congratulate Sophia. I've known her for many years. We gave her her first opportunity to work in municipal government. And I took her under my wings, and once she grew, she left, following the big league of the federal governments and election and all of that. And I'm just so surprised to see her on the agenda. But I know she will do a good job because I know for myself she is smart. She's a very intelligent young lady, and I think it's a good choice. So congratulations.
Freeholder Toro?
I also want to congratulate you. I'm very pleased to have you on board. Welcome. I'm looking at your resume. You're extremely qualified, and most importantly, through your remarks, you know, your heart's in the right place, knowing that you have to help the students having low educational costs while achieving their educational dreams. So I look forward to getting to know you better. Thank you.
Well, Ms. Searcy, I have to say congratulations as well. I know you from an educational opportunity, and the way in which you are very much so committed to moving forward education and to helping people. I can testify to that firsthand. So congratulations. I think that you would be an excellent addition to the board over there at the college. And I truly look forward to next week, in which we will be voting on the actual nomination. Thank you so much for being here, and obviously for touching so many lives. Okay, Madam Clerk, please list resolution number 1, and let's move to resolution number 2. Please read.
Advise and consent nomination for the reappointment of Sylvia Harris to the Essex County Commission on Aging Advisory Board.
Okay, Mr. Chalala, can you please explain?
Yes, Ms. Harris is a reappointment. Unfortunately, Ms. Harris was not able to make tonight's meeting. Her term will run through September 30th of 2018.
Okay. Do you think she'll be at the next one?
We are trying to get Ms. Sylvia Harris for the next meeting, as well as Gloria Timley, but the other 3 members are here this evening.
Sylvia and Gloria. Gloria is number 5.
Yes.
Okay. Madam Clerk, can you please read resolution number 5?
Resolution number 5, advise and consent nomination for the reappointment of Gloria Timley to the Essex County Commission on Aging and Advisory Board.
Okay, please list resolution 2 and 5 for next week, in which we will need to see them and meet them as well. Let's move to resolution number 3. Please read.
Resolution number 3, advise and consent nomination for the reappointment of Walter T. Jacobs to the Essex County Commission on Aging Advisory Board.
Okay. Mr. Chalala?
Mr. Jacobs, again, is a reappointment to the Essex County Commission on the Aging, and Mr. Jacobs' term will run through, again, September 30th, 2018, and I'll have Mr. Jacobs give a little background and introduction about himself to the board at this time.
Good evening, and I'm proud to be another candidate for that position. Working with the seniors is massive. When I first started, I thought it was just, you're working with people that you see walking around, but there's so much for seniors. Their living conditions, their health, the food, but Essex County is doing so much for them. Now, since I've been on board, we have a food program in the parks for the seniors at 12 o'clock, and that's really big. And they do bring food to the building for some of them also. So I'm glad to be a part of that. I'm glad that Essex County is putting seniors first. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Mr. Paul-Vecchio?
No comments.
Mr. McInerney?
No comments.
Freeholders? Any questions or comments? Freeholder Jones?
I'm just happy to see Walter being here tonight. I've been knowing Walter for many, many years. And he, too, started off in Irvington being political with Team Irvington, and then he moved on to higher places. He is well qualified. He's a friend of mine, and I think it's an excellent selection.
Freeholder Siebel?
Thank you. I've known Walter Jacobs also for many years, and he does a terrific job, and he really believes in what he is doing. And I am very happy, Walter, that you're willing to give up your time and energy to be reappointed to this very, very important board. Thank you so much.
Freeholder Richardson?
To you, Madam President, I just want to say thank you, Walter, for all that you do, and you've been doing it for quite some time, and wanting to continue. I take my hat off to you, and I thank you for your service. Thank you.
Okay. Freeholders, any other questions or comments? Well, thank you so much, and congratulations on the nomination, and we'll definitely vote next week. All right? Madam Clerk, let's list resolution number 3 and move to resolution number 4.
Resolution number 4, advise and consent nomination for the reappointment of Beverly Oliphant to the Essex County Commission on Aging Advisory Board.
Good afternoon, Madam President and members of the Board of Chosen Freeholders. I should say good evening, it's a little late. I'm told I'm supposed to talk a little bit about myself. I I worked in corporate America for 38 years. I had an opportunity to retire early. I knew that I would get involved in community activism. I didn't know where. My mother approached me and said that one of her friends was in crisis, so I said, oh, I'll see if I can help her out. And that was the beginning of my second career in advocating for senior citizens in Essex County. As a result, I'm always looking for various platforms to advocate on. The commission, this advisory commission, is one of the platforms. I'm currently president of the Essex County Advisory Commission. I was also chairperson of Act for New Jersey, which is advisory councils together. That's all the advisory councils in the state of New Jersey, which there's one in every county. That would include Bergen County, Essex County, Morris County, Passaic County, Sussex County, and Warren County. I'm also, another platform would be communication. It's very important. I learned that it's very important that we share information. A lot of seniors are not aware of the services that are available to them. It's very important that they are. It's very important that the seniors give back to the community. I mean, there are certain things you can't do, and there are certain things you can do. And it's my job, I've made it my career to motivate them, to encourage them to do whatever they can do for themselves and for the community. I'm also editor of the Essex Advisor, which is the senior citizen publication for Essex County. Another platform to communicate services and initiatives, senior initiatives in Essex County. I'm also coordinator of the Reed Temple Food Pantry. I had an opportunity to meet, through that ministry, I had an opportunity to meet a lot of grandparents raising grandchildren. So I had an opportunity to share information with them about the resources that are available to them. I also met a young lady that started an organization called Grandma Cares, and they're strictly a support group for those grandparents raising grandchildren. I am president of the Retirement Club of the Oranges, a group of senior citizens that, in their own way, support the youth programs at the YMCA in the city of East Orange. As a confidant, to many seniors individually and collectively, this is something that I will be doing for the rest of my life, and I love what I do. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Mr. Polavecchio? No comment. Mr. McInerney? Freeholders? Freeholders, Seabolt?
Thank you. We're very lucky that you're willing to continue working on the advisory board. I don't know what they would do without you because you do so much work. You've got such a good record of everything that you do. And again, I'm pleased that the county executive wants to reappoint you because we need you. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Freeholders? Freeholder Toro?
I was just very inspired by the many boards that she serves on, and I want to thank her for her dedication, her time, and her passion in helping seniors.
Okay. Freeholders? Congratulations. I can tell that you're a leader. Freeholder Jones.
Oh, that was what I was getting ready to say. They're just listening to this lady who has given her life as a retiree to other senior citizens. I'm very honored that you're here, and I know that they have made the best choice of people for that particular board. Continue the good work.
Yes. Yes, and I was saying that I can tell that you're a leader because before I could even say, Mr. Chilela, can you please explain? You were already at the microphone, ready to go. And that's good. That's initiative. I like that. Congratulations on the nomination, and we'll definitely be taking action at our next meeting. Madam Clerk, please list resolution number 4 and move down to resolution number 6.
Resolution number 6, advise and consent nomination for the reappointment of Linda Washington to the Essex County Commission on Aging Advisory Board.
Okay, Mr. Chalala.
Yes, before I introduce Ms. Washington, I've been advised that Ms. Harris did make it this evening. She was resolution number 2. So if we can call it Ms. Harris so that she can introduce.
Absolutely, we'll go back to 2.
Okay.
Let's do 6.
Okay. Resolution 6 is Mrs. Washington's reappointment to the Commission on Aging. Again, her term will also run through September 30th of 2018.
Okay.
Ms. Washington?
Good evening to the chair, to the freeholders. My name is Linda Washington, and my curriculum vitae includes that I am the president of Kretschmer Elderly, the largest senior building in Newark Housing Authority. I am the secretary to the South Ward Concerned Citizens. I am also the secretary to the HUD Coalition. I am the founder and director of the Kretschmer Mini Resource Center. It is the first resource center within public housing in the U.S. And when I worked, I retired from Exxon in Florham Park in 1995. I enjoy being a Essex County Commissioner because it allows me to assist the seniors in obtaining information to help their quality of life. And also, I like to add a little fun to things, and I am an impersonator for the city of Newark for the last 9 years with Mildred Crump, entertaining seniors in May once a year at the Senior Fashion Show. I impersonate Diana Ross, Billie Holiday, Tina Turner.
Now you can't say you impersonate without doing something for us now. You can't be at a microphone talking about impersonations and think I'm not going to ask.
Okay, watch it on Channel 78, you know. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Washington. Mr. Polavecchio, Mr. McInerney, freeholders, freeholder Seabolt.
I will never understand how the county executive finds such wonderful people to appoint to these boards. And you are absolutely terrific. I'm going to have to watch you. And you should entertain us here now, as the president said. And I'm very happy you're willing to contribute and give your time to do something so important for Essex County. Thank you.
Freeholders? Freeholder Toro?
I just have to say, what a wonderful idea that you're a founder of a resource center in public housing. If that would be in place in all our public housings, you know, it would help so many people. So, you know, just for that, you know, thank you for putting that together, and thank you for wanting to serve again on this board. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. Freeholder Jones, how are you raising your hand? It's like I can't see it. I think the computer's blocking it. The clerk keeps telling me.
That's all right. You had your head down. You couldn't see me.
Yes, ma'am.
Right.
Freeholder Jones.
Yes. Madam President, I just want to say to Mrs. Washington that life began after you retired. I retired from the school system, and I thought I would be home doing absolutely nothing. That's what you need to do in terms of giving service back to those who are not able or capable of doing. and it's very rewarding. And everyone who has been here tonight, it makes me feel as though I can do more. So congratulate to all of these honorees who are going to be working to help others. Good luck.
You said it all. I second that. Congratulations, everyone. Again, your appointments will be voted on at the next meeting. But we want to go back to, we're going to list number 6, but we're going to go back to,
Number 2.
right? Number 2. Okay. Let's go back to number 2, Ms. Sylvia Harris.
Ms. Harris, could you come up to the microphone, please?
Good evening. I'm retired and I don't have any executive positions, but in Orange we're very informal and they know whenever they need help they can call on me. I like to feel like I'm doing something in the community and I'm available. I don't have money to give, but I have time to give, and that's what I like to do.
Thank you. I like that. You know, you give all you can. That's beautiful. Mr. Paul Vecchio, Mr. McInerney, Freeholders, Freeholder Seabolt.
Thank you. Another wonderful person which we are going to appoint. And again, thank you for giving up your time and energy for something so important.
Freeholders.
Well, since I've been talking on everything, so therefore I concur with the Freeholder, Sibo, that we appreciate your service and to give back to the community. And I think you were a very important person that the county exec appointed you. You're well worth it, and keep up the good work.
Yes. Thank you so much for coming. And again, we'll be taking action next week. Congratulations to everyone who has been nominated. Please list resolution number 2, Madam Clerk, and let's move to resolution number 7.
Resolution number 7, the Office of the Sheriff Contract Award to Atlantic Uniform Company to provide Armor Express ballistic vests for law enforcement personnel under state contract number 1, NJCP 81348, amount not to exceed $14,982.
Mr. Shalala, can you please explain the resolution?
Yes, Madam President. These are replacement bulletproof vests for the Sheriff's Department. They do have a useful life. These particular vests have a 5-year useful life. These will go to replace those that have outlived their usefulness, and their unit price is roughly $749.10.
Okay. Thank you. And how will this, Mr. Paul Vecchio, any questions or comments?
I don't know. No, I don't.
Mr. McInerney?
Madam President, as it was said, this is a $14,982 expenditure. That's for 20 vests at $749.10 apiece, and this is covered by a grant.
Thank you. Freeholders? I like the part that is covered by the grant, and this, of course, is in line with our newly passed legislation regarding, firearms, although this is for the vest. Please list it. Let's move to resolution number 8.
Resolution number 8, Department of Corrections contract award to the 3 lowest responsive and responsible bidders to provide bandwidth and connectivity with wide area network for Essex County, amount not to exceed $264,000.
64.
Mr. Shalala?
Yes, Madam President. This is a new way the county is going to secure this bandwidth service. In the past, the county had relied on Verizon. We found that by going with a different way of securing this bandwidth, the county will represent roughly a 50% savings by going to Comcast, Business Automation, as well as CSC. This is the connectivity from our local police departments to the Sheriff's Department, to the prosecutors, and to corrections. So it is a a very extremely important connectivity that we are pleased to move forward on, especially with a 50% savings.
Thank you. Mr. Polavecchio?
Yeah, just a question. So this is being divided between 3 separate vendors, where in the past, Mr. Chilella, it was just the one Verizon performed all these services?
That is correct. And the areas that they are broken down into are the areas that they service. So Comcast, as you know, does not service all communities. So it depends on which communities the vendors have this service that we're able to secure them.
In the past, was the contract, I'm just curious, in the past, was the contract broken down into these many numbers, or was it just one bulk, provide all the service, and that's why we...
It actually came on over in stages. As municipalities signed on, we would then secure the pipe or the connectivity. So it wasn't on one particular contract. It was one contract that was added to as more and more municipalities became involved in the process.
Okay, and it sounds like because there's more competition, it's more cost-effective for us.
Precisely, yes.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. McInerney?
So the items awarded, which there's numerous amounts, a number of items here. Those items represent specific connections that were specific items, excuse me, specific items that were found in the bid specifications?
Through that is correct. So you'll notice there are some additions to the packet where you'll list the municipalities, the minimum speed that we required for the service provider to transmit the data and the information on, the number of IP addresses that are required. Some municipalities are larger, and it's broken down on a per monthly basis by location, and I believe it's in your packet.
There's something on the bottom of the form here where, let me just get to it, where the Freeholder president has to sign, and it says bandwidth and connectivity, 550,000. I don't know why that's there. If it's on the actual record of vote, there's approved as a form of legality, then there's the record of the vote, and then just below that, it says bandwidth and connectivity, 550,000.
Frank, I don't know. We'll have to look at that and see why that's even on there.
Yeah, okay, thanks.
Okay, so before the next meeting, before we take action, we have to know the answer to that question. Very clear. Freeholders, any questions or comments? Freeholder Toro?
It's not so much on this specific resolution, but sort of the same idea. Just, I see that this is the Department of Corrections, and it's covering bandwidth to a lot of police and courts and Hall of Records and the hospital. But what about all the other buildings? How do their bandwidth, how do they cover their internet connection? Is it through Verizon still, or are we moving into changing it?
Through Madam President, there are different service providers for different locations. For instance, for this complex, we have a separate provider. For the jail, there's another service provider, a hospital center, and it all has to do with when they put their bids out at the time and the lowest responsible bidder. This particular package, each municipality benefits immensely because the county is picking up their monthly tab for connectivity. So if you look for Montclair, just in Montclair alone, it's $147 a month that this county is paying for their connectivity. So it's a benefit for each municipality. We benefit by having a whole block and being able to purchase it under one purchase agreement. But the county executive has agreed not to charge these municipalities for this service. But to answer your question, we don't have one service provider countywide. Each entity pretty much goes out and secures their internet service.
Okay, yeah, because you did say 50% savings, so I'm wondering how that's going. But this is the first time we're paying for these municipalities, or we've been doing this?
We've been doing the Integrated Law Enforcement Initiative for I think about 4 years now.
Okay, thank you.
You will.
Okay, freeholders, any other questions or comments? All right, hearing none, please list it. Let's move to resolution number 9.
Resolution number 9, Department of Public Works, Division of Engineering, Federal Aid Agreement number 2015-DT-BLA-209, Lyons Avenue, County Road 602, Township of Irvington.
Mr. Chilella, can you please explain?
Yes, this is one of the first steps that the county must process to go through in order to secure funding and actually a project. This is an agreement to install 6 traffic signals as well as roadway improvements along Lyons Avenue in Irvington in the amount of $2,765,332. Once this agreement is passed by this board, we will then follow up with the state for the actual funding. Once the funding is inserted into our budget, we will then go out for a bid for the construction of these intersections, and we'll come back to the board to award that contract, and this is the first step in that process.
Okay, thank you. Mr. McInerney?
Yes, just one thing, Ralph, you said, and I'm just curious about, when the funding comes back in, you have 60 days to go out for a bid, but this has a connotation in the letters here that it's 60 days from the date of the letter. Now, what you say makes more sense, but if we can get some clarification on that. That's 60 days from September 30th or 60 days from when we get the money. The other thing is that this is the first of 3 that we have on the agenda tonight. They're pretty substantial amounts of grants. They're grants from the federal government through our New Jersey Department of Transportation, which then feed down to the county. And the county will put out for bids, and the county actually does the work, and we get reimbursed.
That is correct.
So, yeah, in the past, we used to get this money up front. Now I believe we have to expend it, and then we will get, reimbursed. So we actually have to, carry the flow of cash on this. And it's a considerable amount. But it's done over a period of time. This project here is estimated to be done in September of 2018. It'll go on. The one after this will be done in September of 2019. So there's an expansion of time, but it still requires the county to expend these funds and then get the reimbursement as quickly as possible. We've been real good at it lately. In the past, some years ago, it was a real issue.
What was the issue regarding?
The issue was that there were 2 things. One is when we got the money up front, we would spend the money and put it in our budget, and then when we would then go out and bond it, the cost. And then what happened after that is that it was just a timing issue of getting the costs together and getting them to the grantor so we can get reimbursed. Over the last dozen years or so, we've been able to really move that process along so that we're getting reimbursed on a timely basis. We also have tonight, I don't know if everybody got a copy of it, but the single audit is out, and that lists all the grants, and these grants are in there. And whatever you expend, you can get reimbursed for. But the timeliness is the key.
Right. Mr. Polavecchio?
Yeah, just to add what this resolution is, and Frank alluded to, the next 2 resolutions are similar. It's asking the board to authorize the executive's execution of the agreement. What the agreement does is set forth how the bids go out, as Ralph was talking about, the costs of the project, and it seems like it's very well monitored and laid out by the federal government who's issuing this aid agreement.
Thank you. Freeholders? Freeholder Jones?
Well, I'm very happy to see that the government is giving money to our major thoroughfares in Essex County, and especially my hometown, Irvington, because we're in dire need of good streets, lights, and all that. Just make sure that the application is taken care of the way we can get reimbursed and get the work done.
Freeholders, any other questions or comments? agree. Unfortunately, when you take the grant money, you especially on the reimbursement basis, you fall in the risk of them reimbursing slow and different things like that. But if we have to do any type of floating while waiting for reimbursement, what funds would it come out of?
Through Madam President, it's basically out of our cash flow capital account.
Okay. Freeholders? All right, Madam Clerk, please list resolution number 9. Let's move to resolution 10 and 11, if you could read them together.
Resolution 10, Department of Public Works, Division of Engineering, Federal Aid Agreement, number 2015-DT-BLA-210, Chancellor Avenue, County Road 601, Township of Irvington. Resolution number 11, Department of Public Works, Division of Engineering, Federal Aid Agreement, number 2015-DT-BLA-212, Berkeley Avenue Bridge over Second River, Township of Bloomfield.
Okay, Mr. Shalala? Can you
Yes,
explain both resolutions?
as the previous resolution spoke to, this is a similar agreement with the feds. This is for 8 traffic signals on Chancellor Avenue. I didn't read the previous one, but not only does it include the traffic signals, the poles, but it also includes the pedestrian countdown signal heads. There's also the installation of an audible pedestrian push button. Concrete curbs, sidewalks will be replaced. New ADA compliant curbs. Milling and resurfacing of the intersections within the curb to curb. Detectable warning systems will be installed on all new curb ramps, and this will bring us up to the new regulatory requirements for traffic signals.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Paul-Vecchio?
No, nothing to add.
Mr. McInerney?
No, no other questions.
Freeholders? Freeholder Toro?
I just need to commend the administration for really going out of the way, applying for these grants. In total, it comes out to like about over $11 million that we are getting from the government to fix our roads and bridges. And, I just have to thank you, because otherwise they wouldn't get fixed, and that's how residents see the difference. And we're living up to our motto of putting Essex County first, so thank you.
Thank you.
I'm recognizing Freeholder Vice President Gill is now with us. Welcome. Freeholders, any questions, other questions or comments for resolutions 10 or 11? Okay. Madam Clerk, please list 10 and 11, and let's move to resolution number 12.
Resolution number 12, Department of Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Affairs, contract award to Britain Electrical Company, the lowest responsible bidder, to provide outdoor athletic lighting repairs, 24-month contract, amount not to exceed $156,799.40.
Mr. Shalala, can you please explain?
I'm sorry. This is a Parks 24-month contract. This is for an open-ended, as-needed contract. This is to repair all of the athletic lighting fixtures that we have throughout our parks, various ball fields, tennis courts, and things alike. This is the same vendor that had the contract last year. Last year, I believe they spent roughly about $68,000 on the lighting repairs.
Okay. Mr. Polovecchio?
No questions.
Mr. McInerney?
No questions.
Freeholders? Questions or comments? Okay. Please list it. Let's move to resolution number 13.
Resolution number 13, Department of Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Affairs, contract award to First Direct Products, the lowest responsive and responsible bidder, to furnish and deliver Swan Chariot pedal boats, 24-month agreement, amount not to exceed $64,815.
Okay. Mr. Shalala, can you please explain?
Yes, Madam President. As you know, up at the Orange Reservoir, we do have a paddle boat concession up there. It's been highly successful, and this is just an open-ended contract for 24 months that if and when we need to replace some of those Swan boats, we have this contract in place. There is a lead time for ordering these, so it's a quiet time now to get this paperwork out of the way. So in the height of this season, if we need to replace the Swan boats, it's already in place, Madam President.
Okay. Mr. Polavecchio?
No questions.
Mr. McInerney?
These have a unit cost of $5,401.25. It's basically enough to purchase over a 24-month period 12 boats.
That's correct.
Freeholder Sebo?
Mr. Chair, will these just replace the boats at the Orange Reservoir or also at the other places where we have boats?
Currently, the Orange Reservoir are the only boats that the county has. The boats at Verona, I believe, are owned by the vendor who operates that concession.
And do we have them at Branchwood Park also?
No, we haven't had
Just in
boats in
Verona.
Brentwick Park in 20 years.
Freeholders, any other questions or comments? All right. Hearing none, please list it. Let's move to resolution number 14. Please read.
Resolution number 14, Department of Citizen Services, Division of Youth Services, contract with the New Jersey Superior Court for the High Impact Probationers Program to provide increased supervision incentive for positive outcomes for the period November 1st through 2015 through December 31st, 2015, amount not to exceed $60,146.
Okay. Mr. Shaw, can you please explain?
Yeah, what I would like to do is have Lee Fisher come up and explain this. This is a new program the county is moving ahead on. This is a 2-month pilot program, and we believe it's going to be a highly successful program. And I would like Mr. Fisher to tell us all about this new program.
Hi, Mr. Fisher.
Good evening. Lee Fisher, Director, Essex County Youth Services Commission. Madam Chair and Freeholders, this program is a new program. We previously had funding for a probation detention alternative, which provided a staff person for more accountability for a select population. The state informed us that they would no longer fund the staff position, that they would fund something more akin to services that would affect the same population. So during our planning process early in the year, we pretty much developed and came to this particular program concept in conjunction with probation. And because of the necessity of AOC, the Administrative Office of the Court, necessity to review and provide approval for the intent, it was a delay in getting it to the freeholders. Nonetheless, the grant funding goes through December 31st, and in fact, we are in the process to request an extension of the accrual funds from the same grant. And so therefore, when you look at the volume in the short duration, that's one explanation for it. I'm going to read some particular data that's supporting the concept of what the intent of the program is. There are about 300 some odd juvenile probationers in Essex County. And for the most part, there's a significant number of juveniles who are in fact high risk. And they're basically supervised by staff. And in order to bring more accountability and to ensure they're in compliance and not to have a technical violation, there are certain necessities, certain needs for this population, the majority of which are come from Newark. Probation is in East Orange on Evergreen. They have weekly requirements to report to probation. They have to, more often than not, provide their own transportation. A very small number have their own transportation. In effect, transportation is the number one cause. A lack of transportation is the number one cause of their getting a technical violation. Along with that, there is a certain population that's considered more high impact than others. Therefore, there's a need to provide additional accountability. And one of the things that's a part of this is by way of state contract that the vendor would utilize to implement GPS as akin to cellular electronic monitoring GPS. They will, in fact, target GPS for at least a select group of about 15. But there's another significant number, about 100, 125, 150 kids that, in fact, would need transportation to ensure they're reporting to probation on time. And it would also provide for a refreshment on a weekly basis, where in fact when you get a new group in, a monthly basis, when you get a new group in, and you provide refreshments not only for the juveniles and their guardian parents and what have you. The way in which they're going to identify which kids to provide on their GPS is based on what level of identified accountabilities at home. You have some homes that have a little bit more dysfunction than, I won't say a little bit more dysfunction, but have some dysfunction. Guardian just has no control, or there's a senior citizen who really can't monitor the kids much, so therefore they will target those kids and gradually move them off if they're in compliance and they're responding to the supervision that's associated with it. As I said before, part of this grant also has incentives. The state is inclined to suggest that there's no monetary incentives. One of the things we initially thought about was just find certain households based on their assessment. There may need to be some supplemental foods or whatever, but they're saying no monetary incentives. So we're looking at continue to thrash that out with probation to provide things like recreation or some other kinds of educational or personal development, minimal resources to those individuals. We will also provide for urine testing, providing for the kids so they would have the urine testing for those that are basically stating that they have or give indication that they've had some substance abuse. But without me rambling on and what have you, I would rather leave it there unless there's some other clarification or additional information that is needed or desired.
Thank you, Mr. Fisher. That was a wonderful explanation behind this. Mr. Polavecchio?
No, I feel kind of compelled to comment. I think we've seen over the last year a lot of changes and advancements in the way juveniles in the criminal justice system are being treated. It's really a modernization of how things are being done, and this should address one of the major obstacles to those things that keep kids on the gerbil wheel, for lack of a better word, in criminal justice. So you get a technical violation, and I'm somewhat passionate about this because it's a lot of what I do when I'm not here. You know, kids sometimes end up in the juvenile justice system because they can't get out of their own way. And part of that is I can't get to probation. It may not be, you may not be breaking the law, you may not be back on drugs, but you just can't get your body physically in front of your probation officer. So I think this will eliminate one of those obstacles. And if there's a legitimate violation, not showing up isn't important, but if there's a more substantial violation, then there'll be punishment. But if you could at least, you know, what do they say, 50% of success is just showing up. So if you can just show up, I think this might be a great program.
Yes. Thank you. Mr. McInerney?
No questions.
Freeholders? Freeholder Toro?
I have two questions. One is, you mentioned GPS on approximately 15 youth or so. How exactly do you do that? The technology behind it. What do you...
The technical aspects of it?
Do you put something that they can't take off from their body?
It's the same as, just to make a point, the entity we currently use is called BI International, and they have all sorts of equipment, one of which we use cellular electronic monitoring because some families don't have phones and there's no...
cell phone?
Well, they don't have any home phones in, or they don't want to convert their cable TV to accommodate the kids, so we basically provide about 60 units that are available for that. But that use is reduced because not as many kids are coming forward in that category. But in terms of the GPS for probationers, we're also applying that to our county or our regular population. But for probation, the vendor came in and demonstrated for us a cross-section of the Youth Service Commission, including the trial court administrators, judges, and what have you, probation. And in effect, there's a bracelet that's worn on the leg. And there's another kind of item that's plugged in. And it's based on the satellite. It will show where you're going, like a cookie cutter where you dropping cookies. It will show where you are, how long you...
Got it. I was interested in knowing. But also, Madam President, through you, my second question, this is only a 2-month pilot. So let's say it's successful. What would happen then? Would we get additional funding? Or?
Well, through you, Madam President, what's happening is, I noticed before, we actually anticipated it being longer in terms of the beginning because the grant funding is from year to year. And in this instance, it would insult your sensibilities to come in with the June contract in December. So we fashioned it according to the period of luck for this year, so November through December.
Okay.
But as I noted, we have the expectation, and have already spoken with Juvenile Justice Commission with respect to requesting an extension on these funds.
Great.
And the great thing about this is supplies. So with the exception of the GPS, you can only pay or reimburse for its use as you use it. But with the equipment supplies, I think we'll benefit from the duration should anything not necessarily prove beneficial in terms of renewing. But however, when we look at our data and recognize what's the issues are and establish our priorities, obviously this is another of our priorities, and it kind of gets shuffled up the deck. And we will have, through our regular grant funding, the ability to examine whether we should fund this versus something else.
Okay, great, thank you.
Freeholders? Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Fisher. I think this is, as learned about in leadership, I think this is a wonderful program that will hopefully build more positive outcomes.
Thank you, Madam President. Thank you very much.
Madam Clerk, please list it. Let's move to resolution number 16, as 15 has been withdrawn by the administration.
Resolution 16, 2015 County Budget, insertion of items of revenue from the State of New Jersey, Department of State of New Jersey, State Council on the Arts for General Program Support, Summer Concert Series, Department of Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Affairs, $14,754.
Okay, Mr. Chella, can you please explain?
Yes, this grant from the state is just a portion of our summer concert series. This helps to support the summer concert series. We'll come back later on with some additional funds for the summer art series. There is a requirement of this grant that the county does provide an in-kind 3-to-1 match, and that is made up out of the Cultural Affairs Department salaries and wages for this program.
Okay, Mr. Polavecchio?
No comments.
Mr. McInerney?
No comment on this, Madam President.
All right, freeholders? Okay, please list it. Move to resolution number 17 and read.
Resolution number 17, 2015 County Budget, insertion of items of revenue from the State of New Jersey, Department of Community Affairs for Universal Service Fund, CWA Administration, Division of Welfare, $38,781.
Okay, Mr. Chella, can you please explain?
I will give a brief statement, and then I'll ask Ms. Jeanette Page Hawkins to explain this resolution to the board. This Universal Service Fund is a state-mandated energy assistance program. Last year, the county received roughly about $35,000, so we are receiving a few extra dollars this year.
Good evening, Madam President and Freeholder members. This grant is a grant that is very essential to the home energy program that is available through the DCA, who administers the program. However, the Public Utilities sponsors the program, and its impact is to assist those 175% of the poverty level, or 30% energy burdens. Their income, 30% of their income or more, goes towards energy. What the division does is process these applications, and so the grant is to process, to determine eligibility, and submit through data the eligibility to the state as well as the nonprofit organizations, in which members will be able to have this energy relief. It's usually coupled also along with the LIHEAP funds. So it is a very important program and mandated by the state for the division to participate.
Thank you. And can you state your name and affiliation just for the record?
I'm so very sorry. Jeanette Page Hawkins, Division Director.
Thank you very much for that explanation. Mr. Polavecchio?
No questions.
Mr. McInerney?
No questions.
Freeholders? Thank you, Ms. Hawkins. I'm glad to see that this is something that, you know, that we're doing a great job. Please listen and move to resolution number 18.
Resolution number 18, 2015, county budget insertion of items of revenue from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development for Almost Home 3, Division of Community Action, $272,038.
Okay, Mr. Shaw?
Yes, Madam President, this project is targeted for disabled individuals who are homeless or have been homeless or have become homeless or aged out of the foster care system within the past 5 years for ages 18 through 24. I do have the director, Ms. Maurice Brown, to go into a little bit more detail regarding this funding.
Good evening, Madam President, Freeholder Board. My name is Maurice Brown, the Director for the Division of Community Action. This is an annual grant from HUD that we apply for each year, and this year we were fortunate enough to regain the grant. This targets basically 20 youth, 20 vouchers. 10 normally go to one agency, the Reformed Church of Highland Park, which has their rental vacancies in Essex County, particularly north, and also for Covenant House. And this is something that we really focus on because there's a lot of youth, particularly between the ages 18 and 24, and some of those 18-year-olds are living on couches in people's homes. They are described as homeless because they can be any time. The other thing with them is many of them, as Mr. Jailer mentioned, when they opt out of foster care, when they hit 18, they are out. They are on their own. So some of them are still in high school, and they need a place to be able to finish study, do some things like that for education-wise and move forward. So it is a program that is designed for many that have drug use or substance abuse. Some of them have other disabled issues from mental issues, et cetera. But these two agencies really work with the youth to try to get them on board.
Thank you. Mr. Polavecchio?
No questions.
Mr. McInerney?
No questions.
Freeholders?
I just want
Freeholder
Madam
Jones?
President, with those young folks who are homeless and they turn 18 years old, what type of information is given to them stating that they are now adults and they are no longer a part of the foster or whatever care where they could go in terms of getting this particular service?
Well, in particular, I can't speak for what was known as DIFUS, which now I think is called CP&P. But what happens is that money or any monies that are involved or financial assistance to them that were going to people to take care of them stops. So a lot of these kids, we get some, I've gotten some that have come into us, and I've actually taken one and put in a car and drove to Covenant House, who was just left alone as soon as he turned 18. His parents or his mother said, "You're 18, you're on your own."
Wow.
And she left him. And he came to us, found us, and we took him to Covenant House, which fortunately had a voucher opening, and we were able to put him in. So, I mean, it's rough out there.
Freeholder Richardson?
Through you, Madam President, this is really, really very important work. A lot of these youngsters who age out are left to their own devices. People don't know the plight of these youngsters who are no longer eligible for service. Like you said, some parents leave when you're 18. Hey, you got to get out there, get on your own. So it's important that we have somewhere and some services for them to go and for them to attain. So thank you. This is important.
Freeholder Siebold?
Thank you. I just would like to commend Maurice Brown for all the hard work he does in this area. You've been doing it for quite a while now, and everything you do is so wonderful. And thank you for giving your time for something so important.
Thank you. And through you, Madam President, I'd just like to say this represents only about a $1,000 increase from last year. I'm not happy with that. So what I've instructed my manager of Almost Home, who's here, Marvin Goodson, that we are going to see about what we can do for the next year or the following year to increase the vouchers so that we can get more funding and bring in more youth to a program that's working.
Great. That's wonderful to hear that you all, and the vouchers, they come from the state?
HUD.
The
they come
federal
from
HUD, okay. And it's just a matter of applying for more, or have they slashed the funds?
They have slashed the funds overall from before. In the last 3 years, they've been holding kind of steady. But that's what I want to learn more about, how to apply and how to get more. And this is what my manager, Mr. Goodson, and I plan to do over the next year.
That's great. Yeah, it's a reoccurring theme. I keep hearing about the funds being slashed for programs that are in need. But thank you so much for your service and what it is that you're doing. It is, you have support from us.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Brown. Please list it, and let's move to resolution number 19.
Resolution number 19, Department of Administration and Finance, Office of Purchasing, license agreements for parking for prosecutor, county counsel, and Superior Court employees at 261 University Avenue, Newark, New Jersey, with LA Parking Corporation, October the 1st, 2015 through September 30th, 2017. Amount not to exceed $249,600.
Mr. Shalala?
Yes, Madam President. Back in 1995, per a court order, the county was ordered to supply parking for the employees who work down at 153 Halsey Street. This contract will supply 52 parking spaces as well as 10 handicap spots located at 261 University Avenue. It comes out to roughly $200 per space per month.
Thank you. Mr. Polavecchio?
Yeah, Ralph, we've been using the same spaces for a number of years. Is that $200 per space rate an increase from the previous contract?
I'd have to check that. I think on this particular contract, since we consolidated 3 separate parking contracts into one parking agreement, I actually think we're saving money on this contract, but I don't know if it's per spot is cheaper. I'd have to get back to the board.
All right, thank you.
Mr. McInerney?
Just that it's a 2-year contract, so it's $10,400 for 24 months.
Right.
$249,600.
Thank you. Freeholders? Okay, please list it. Let's move to commendations 20 through 27 and read.
Commendations honoring the Bloomfield Friends of the Library on its 80th anniversary, sponsored by Freeholders Toro, Timberlake, Gill, and Johnson. Resolution 21, commendation honoring Jessa Bachotto, 2015 through 2016, Essex County Teacher of the Year, sponsored by Freeholders Siebel, Timberlake, and Toro. Resolution 22, resolution proclaiming October 2015 as Breast Cancer Awareness Month in Essex County, sponsored by Freeholder Siebel. 23, commendation honoring former freeholder Gerald Owens upon his retirement for the International Longshoremen's Association, sponsored by acclamation. Resolution 24, commendation honoring Merlene Joseph upon her retirement from the Department of Citizens Services, sponsored by Freeholders Siebel, Johnson, and Richardson. Resolution 25, commendation honoring Alice Baker on her 100th birthday, sponsored by Freeholder Timberlake. Resolution 26, commendation congratulating Agape Baptist Church on its first anniversary, sponsored by Freeholder Timberlake. Resolution 27, commendation congratulation Stand Down New Jersey on its annual Northern New Jersey Stand Down for Homeless Veterans event, sponsored by Freeholders Gill and Richardson.
And resolution number 29, please. Thank
Resolution 29, proclaiming October 2015 as National Bullying Prevention Month in Essex County, sponsored by Freeholder Toro.
Freeholders, any questions or comments?
Yes.
Freeholder Seabolt?
I'd very much like to be on number 20. I know the proclamation has been given, but perhaps I could be added to it. Number 22. October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and I asked that it be Breast Cancer Awareness Month in Essex County, and that is why I'm wearing pink tonight, because pink is the color, and I have a pink ribbon on, and I'm very happy that it is on the agenda. Also, I'd very much like to be included in number 29, the National Bullying Prevention Month, sponsored by Freeholder Toro. I'd like to be included on that.
Absolutely. Freeholders? Were you finished, Freeholder Seabolt? Did you have any more?
Thank you.
Okay.
No, that's
You're
it.
welcome.
As long as I made my statement about Breast Cancer Awareness Month and my wearing of the color pink.
Freeholder Jones?
Looking at these resolutions, I would like to, for all 7, from 20 to 7, that my name be added to the resolutions.
Absolutely. And 29? Freeholders? Freeholder,
Yes,
Luciano?
and I'm not sure if it was presented yet, if I could be added to 21, please, for the Teacher of the Year. Thank you.
What'd you say?
21.
Freeholders? Okay, I'd just like to be added to resolution number 29, perhaps resolution 22, in light of Pat and her, Freeholder Seabolt and her comments, should be by acclamation. And,
Which one by acclamation?
22?
Okay.
President Timberlake, I'd be happy to do acclamation for 29 as well.
And acclamation for 29?
And I'd be happy with 22, that's fine.
And 29, right?
Yes. Was 24 already given out? 24? Freeholder Seabolt, was 24 already given out?
What was that?
Was resolution 24 already given out?
Was it already presented?
Was it given out?
Was it presented? I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. If not, I was just going to say that should probably be by acclamation as well.
Yeah, fine.
All right. Any questions or comments? Any other ones? All right, Madam Clerk, please list 20 through 27 and 29.
And Madam President, did you say 24 by acclamation? Was that the one?
Yes.
Okay.
22, 24, and 29.
Okay.
Acclamation. Freeholder Jones added to all of them.
Yes.
Please list it. And let's move to resolution number 28, which is an added starter, and the administration is asking us to take action on this tonight. Please read.
Resolution 28, Department of Administration and Finance, Office of Purchasing, authorization to use the competitive contracting process in order to solicit proposals from qualified vendors for the provision of consulting services for transcription and videotaping services.
Okay. Ms. Chella, can you please explain also why the administration is requesting action?
Yes, Madam President. Normally, this service was actually a different process, but recently the state legislature listed these services now under competitive contracting, and the services are for transcription and videotaping services. Normally, we go out, but the timeliness of this is we need to get the permission by this board to use competitive contracting. Once that is voted on, we then advertise, do a competitive contract bid announcement, come back to this board and award, and this would allow us the opportunity for the calendar year to actually have those services in place.
Okay. Mr. Polavecchio?
Yeah, just to say that
what this resolution is doing is complying with the local public contracts law, which requires the administration to come to the board to seek authorization to use this competitive contracting process. Just without getting into a whole discussion on it, it still requires the request for proposal process that we use on many other things, but it does have a little bit longer lead time in advertising and also allows us to go out for longer-term contracts up to 5 years, which is one of the benefits. And once we authorize use of competitive contracting for these particular services, the administration doesn't have to seek that approval again. Obviously, you would have to they come back with the ultimate contract, but the process is now approved for these services.
Okay, Mr. McInerney?
No questions.
Thank you, Mr. Palvecchio. Freeholders? Okay. Hearing none, do I have a mover and a second?
I'll move it.
Moved by Freeholder Gill, second by Freeholder Jones. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Bobadilla, absent Freeholder Vice President Gill.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson, absent Freeholder Jones.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano.
Yes.
Freeholder Richardson, absent Freeholder Siebel.
Yes.
Freeholder Toro.
Yes.
Freeholder President Timberlake.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you. Let's move to the report of board committees. Do we have any report of board committees? Okay. Do we have any legislative reports? Any written communication? Any unfinished business? Any new business to discuss? Okay, now we find ourselves back at the public comment session. If there are any members of the public wishing to speak on any issue at all, please come forward, state your name and affiliation for the record, and you'll have 3 minutes to speak, monitored by the clock to my right.
Good evening, freeholders, Madam President. Ronald Wright, R. Wright Cowboy, 66 Dayton Street, North. And I'm just coming to say that I'm happy to say today that I heard early this morning the saws ripping the trees down outside the house. And I was glad to see that somebody was doing something, because I've been there about 3 years and I haven't heard those saws before. Now, I'm kind of glad that I spoke on it, because it seemed like action started after we speaking on it, the trees falling over there. And that's what's damaging a lot of the fences down. The fences and stuff were really tore up behind the fallen limbs and stuff. Now, the trees that they're cutting down seem like most of the limbs done fell. They're cutting down the big trees. Now, I was looking at the contract that they got, that like there's 3 different tree cutters cutting down the trees, and I was just wondering how did they work that for. I've seen ribbons tied around certain trees, but then there's certain trees there that are smaller that needs to be taken down or getting out of there, because I don't know how they're paid. They're paid by the ones that they cut down, or the size of it, or what. I don't know if you keep track of that. But I was just saying, right on the sidewalk, there was limbs fell down. I got pictures of all these limbs and stuff. Then they came and took down, cut up some of the limbs, but up the street, one of the limbs fell in a car, and that's still laying up there on the sidewalk, right up against the park. And then there's trees that's grown all around the fence, and I can see they're just about ready to fall. And when they fall, they're going to take the fence down too. And I was just wondering about that fence, and I don't know if they have contractors fixing the fence or anything, but there's big beams laying across the sidewalk, bent down from the fall of the fence. And if anybody walking through there at night, they might not be able to see it or fall. But I know it's being a build-up for accidents to happen around there. And I was just glad to see that they were taking care of that problem. And I'm very happy that anything that I see, the playground over there is going up very well. I've seen the tree houses and stuff, the the way they're putting that together is very good job. That's about all I have to say right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cowboy. And as is our practice, we'll respond in writing. Any other member of the public wishing to speak on any issue at all, please come forward, state your name and affiliation for the record, and you'll have 3 minutes to speak, monitored by the clock. To my right. Okay? Madam Clerk, let the record reflect no one else is wishing to speak at this time. Moving to closing public comment session, moving to freeholder comment session. Freeholders, any comments? Okay, motion to adjourn?
Move it.